to talk about a lot of interesting things about cardiovascular health, things you've never heard of, and things that happened to me because of this. I'm going to tell you about my own story about health care and cardiovascular. Okay, in 1978, I got chest pains. I went to the doctor. They did all these tests. They did an ultra fast scan, which is not a good thing to do because the old one had a ton of radiation, which damages your heart more than knowing that the heart's damaged. They told me I had what they call lipoprotein little a. If you're in the field of cardiovascular, you'll realize that is like glue. It's in the cholesterol, and normal is under 200, high is 400. I was 1800. The cardiologist told me I had a cardiovascular system of a 70-year-old, and I was 44. So that started my process, and I was already in the healthcare field for like 3 or 4 years. I brought MSM to the market, which I still believe is the third most powerful product for overall health. I've been taking 20 to 30 grams a day for 30 years. So I'm going to give you some information. So I'm going to talk about myself, what happened with me, lipoprotein little a. It's a genetic flaw, and it's the glue that glues the calcium to the cardiovascular system, the arteries. Veins don't normally get clogged up because of how they're designed unless you do a bypass, and then they can get clogged up with using veins as a replacement. I'm going along and I realized I have to start doing something about this. So I made 3 or 4 products I looked at the mechanics. It's calcium. Why do we have calcium problems? Mainly because we're acidic because of the gallbladder, believe it or not. So I'm going to say it really quick because the other one we'll talk more about it. But you secrete bile, bile digests fats, fats make cholesterol. Cholesterol makes what they call pregnenolone, the master hormone to all hormones, feeds the adrenals to make estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. But its most important thing that it does, I think, are equally important to making hormones, right? And why it's the hub of the body, because it recycles minerals. And minerals are crucial to the body's function. And if your gallbladder is clogged up, and we produce 1/4 liter to 1 liter of bile a day to recycle minerals, mainly to make hormones that digest fats, that make cholesterol, that makes pregnenolone, that feeds the adrenals to make estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and every kind of hormone there is. And hormones regulate things: heart function, liver function, moodiness, sex drive, everything. Basically, I made something to get rid of the problem with the gallbladder. I've sold it to hundreds of doctors, but I've sold hundreds of bottles and protocols to like Klinghart and Marcola, all these doctors to get rid of and open up the gallbladder to release the bile, to eliminate the waste material so that it can function properly to make you have hormones. But the secondary, and not really secondary equally, is the recycling of minerals. So once it's made the hormones or digested the fat, it keeps on going down the digestive tract, being reabsorbed, and we cannot live off what we eat daily. Basically, gallbladder's clogged up. This is the starting point of cardiovascular problems. Why is it the starting point? Because you don't see the mechanics. It's a mechanical thing. So if you think about it, you release the bile, digest the fats, and make cholesterol, makes hormones, blah, blah, blah. It gets clogged up because of the first number one cause of illness is mold, fungus, all these other things that disrupt and come out of the digestive tract because of antibiotics. Antibiotics is the number one cause as I see it, because when you take an antibiotic, you kill 2/3 of your digestive tract. And now it's not running properly. It starts to leak because of the damage to the walls, waste material out of the digestive tract, which has a lot of the bacterias and fungus and everything that we naturally should stay through the tube of the digestive tract, but it doesn't because of the antibiotic destroying two-thirds of the digestive tract, which leak out and put pinholes, allowing to cause a lot of allergy and everything is caused from the pinholes leaking out material that the body makes antibodies to. It's just an ugly cycle. So now that you've leaked out the infection, where does it go? Because the immune system is pretty sturdy. It's pretty viable. Should kill off the infection. Yeah, not so. Basically, what it's doing, this waste material that has the infection is in the bloodstream now. Now you've got infection in the bloodstream, which it tries to find a home. So now that you've got the infection out there, it's going to find a home that it can take over and thrive. And those are cavities, gallbladder, sinus, lower colon, vaginal canal, ear canal. These cavities, that's why young kids get ear infections, because those canals in the sinuses drain over into the ears and they get an ear infection. So this is why the starting point is, you already have a problem, because all these kids have had antibiotics early in life, or they've been compromised by the vaccinations, too many at one time, blah, blah, blah. At that point, it finds a home in the orifices. Sinus is one of the biggest ones, 100 square feet of surface area. So it can find its way. And a lot of people have sinus problems and everything else. I have a nasal wash is incredibly well. It's my number one seller out of 71 products I have created. I've got a lot more coming on the line that are going to blow people away. And you can call me later on what we plan to do. Stress, lack of hormones, and TMG, trimethylglycine, which deals with homocysteine. Okay, what is homocysteine? It's an inflammation. It's very strong indicator of cardiovascular problems. TMG, I always put it with my MSM, methylsulfonylmethane, which is the third most powerful product in the world. TMG is probably the sixth most powerful product in the world, but homocysteine actually gets rid of homocysteine. It normally gets rid of homocysteine with B6, B12, and folic acid, crucial elements to the Krebs cycle to give you energy. But if you have a homocysteine problem, you're going to need something to be more efficient. And TMG is the product. The homocysteine regenerates methionine coming off of getting rid of toxins in the body, regenerates it back to methionine. It donates methyl groups. And methionine makes homocysteine. It donates a methyl group, steals it from the lungs basically, and makes homocysteine. And to get rid of homocysteine, you have to donate a methyl group to homocysteine to bring it back to methionine, the number one detoxifier of the body. So basically, you have antibiotic, leaks, inflammation, hides and grows in the gallbladder, sinus, lower colon, vaginal canal, ear canal, clogging those things up, making them not operate properly. And by taking TMG, it gets rid of the homocysteine part of it and regenerates it back to methionine and frees up B6, B12 and folic acid, turns into DMG, dimethylglycine. Heard that from DMG was a secret weapon in the 70s in the Olympics that the Russians used without telling anybody they were taking it. Because it improved oxygen transportation, improved brain function, and made everything in the cardiovascular system work more efficiently. Bottom line, you get this homocysteine, it regenerates it back to methionine, it frees up B6, B12, and folic acid, crucial elements to the Krebs cycle, crucial to making in the Krebs cycle energy. So you get rid of a bad, create a good, you free up all these chemicals, and then it turns into DMG, which adds oxygen to the cardiovascular and blah, blah, blah. It's a great product TMG, trimethylglycine. You put it with MSM that makes you more flexible. It bonds proteins together. That's why you need to listen to the first podcast and learn all about that, the mechanics. When you understand the mechanics, you understand that the body is mechanical. So here's the cardiovascular system. It's being damaged by too much calcium. Where's the calcium coming from? Because the body goes acidic because of the inflammation. The body needs to offset the acidity. We have to stay at a pH range of 7.38 to 7.42. 1 degree in either direction for an hour, you're most likely dead for a full hour at a lower or higher pH. So when it goes lower, which is the most common, because it's pulling inflammation, the cardiovascular system goes acidic, and so it has to stay at a certain range, or you're going to die within an hour. So what it does, it makes calcium bicarbonate by leaching calcium out of the bones. That's why people get weaker bones, knees, especially women. They get the knees are just terrible, um, mainly because they're acidic. If they've had kids, they've dumped a lot of their mineral reserves, and they can't offset the acidity naturally, and so they're pulling calcium out of the bones to make calcium bicarbonate. Like sodium bicarbonate neutralizes acid. Like if you pour baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, onto a battery cable, it sizzles. That's neutralizing the acid. Well, if you pull it out of the bones and make calcium bicarbonate, it's going to pull it and leach the calcium. And then now you got free floating calcium in the body, which I talk more deeply in the other two podcasts, which we'll be more than happy to send to you. This is great. The problem is, to me, calcium is the number one cause of cancer. So when it pulls calcium out of the bones, you weaken the bones. Now you got calcium floating around, missing an electron, and then it's going to steal electrons somewhere through the cardiovascular system, which is going to cause inflammation. High homocysteine causes inflammation, and inflammation starts to pull things out of the arteries, and it starts to plaque up. The calcium starts to try to block the damage, and it doesn't do it intentionally. It's just a mechanical thing. Pulls it out, and now you've got inflammation in the arteries, which starts to plug up with more calcium, which causes the more inflammation, which causes more calcium, and it's an ugly cycle. If you get rid of the calcium, then you make your arteries smoother. There is a thing called a parasite cell. So instead of a stem cell, it's a parasite cell. And that cell, even though it's a strange name for a cell, secretes a fluid, which is a surfactant that makes the blood flow more smoothly through all the arteries. Now we've talked about coronary artery disease caused from calcium. That's missing an electron that steals it to become stable, but also damages the cardiovascular system, causing inflammation. And a lot, you can get other inflammation from stress and other things in the body. And this calcium can float around. And if it doesn't stick it well enough, it can get into the brain and cause stroke and heart failure and all sorts of other things. And so it causes inflammation, which causes more calcium, which causes more clogging up, and blah, blah, blah. You've got this vicious cycle of losing, and you lose your hormones with the leakageness of holes in the cardiovascular system or in the digestive tract, which causes inflammation everywhere and inhibits, clogs up the gallbladder. There's a lot of things, different things, what causes high blood pressure. One of them is a thyroid problem. One is a kidney problem, all these different mechanisms. But if you really look at the thing, and I think number two cause of all health is low body temperature. Now you got inflammation, you've got plaque buildup, you've got the gallbladder clogging up because of the inflammation, because the body secretes between a quarter of a liter to a liter of bile a day. Recycling minerals is a major factor, but also digesting fats to make cholesterol that makes pregnenolone, that feeds the adrenals to make estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. So you're hormone deficient and you're damaging your body at the same time. So guess what? If the gallbladder can't secrete its bile, where does the bile go? It's produced by the liver, right? And it comes from, three things that help make bile, breakdown of blood cells in the spleen, the lymph system, which a lot of minerals to make minerals come down to the liver, and cholesterol, which used cholesterol combines to make bile acid. So now all this bile acid is backing up into the gallbladder, backing up into the liver, and you start to have liver problems, fatty liver and all these kind of things. And I do a liver gallbladder flush in 6 hours. It's crazy good. Amazing how much better you feel. I think it's hugely important to do one. And really, it sounds like it's hard. It really isn't. If you really see the mechanics of it, it's pretty easy. You just take some oils to make the bile that be digested, to make cholesterol, and do all these other things to make hormones in the adrenals. So at that point, cardiovascular health is compromised. And here's the key. You talk about high blood pressure. If it's backing bile into the liver malfunctions. It's not making the chemicals it needs and not digesting things properly. It starts to throw dirty blood to the kidneys, and the dirty blood starts to make the kidneys malfunction. And that's when you start to see cardiovascular problems because it can't purify the blood properly, and you cause inflammation again because the kidneys aren't doing their job. And you get kidney disease. It's all mechanical. Everything's mechanical, causing inflammation, stress, hormones. Can't handle stress because you don't have the hormones. You get more parasites and things in the whole digestive tract, and you start to malfunction. So we're going to another phase here. There's all these different phases. Gallbladder function supports bile, detoxification, all these things. Short-term cleanses are great and easy to do. 6 hours, you do have a lot of diarrhea after that for, another 5 or 6 hours, but you just get all this waste material, not only just from the top of the digestive tract, it pushes all this waste material through the thing and gets rid of the clog in the gallbladder if there is one, and releases a ton of bile with waste material in it. Fabulous thing to do. I've done probably 100 of them, maybe more. I've had people doing them, thousands of people do them, and they all rave about how much better they feel. DNA is the heart and soul of the body in regards to making you, but it also repairs you. You need proteins and things of that nature, neurotransmitters for the brain. It gets rid of homocysteine, all sorts of things. Let me talk about me. I just had a bypass. So, well, you know about this stuff, and why did you have a bypass? Well, 23 years ago, I had homocysteine levels I had a plaquing of my arteries to a point they said I was 44 years old and I had a cardiovascular system of a 70 because of what they call lipoprotein little a. Lipoprotein little a is a genetic flaw. There was no cure, and to this day, there is no cure, but they say they're close. Bottom line is homocysteine and all these things cause inflammation and they disrupt the whole system. And lipoprotein little a is the glue that takes the breakdown of the basically like the calcium that's fell apart, trying to get rid of the inflammation and sticks it against the wall of the cardiovascular system. So I knew that I had a problem that I had to deal with. Otherwise, it's going to clog up and I'm going to die. I started making products to get rid of the calcium. So Vascular Clear is number of items that are well known to doctors to help. L-arginine is a key component, by the way. It's L-arginine is fabulous. They've done studies for cleaning out cardiovascular systems, 5 or 8 grams a day. By itself has cleaned out arteries and things. I was taking a lot more than that because I had this problem. But all these other ingredients, is you look at them and you read about them, you'll see why I put them together to help you get better and your clientele. So Vascular Care is a fabulous product, cleans out all these things. I'll give you an example. I had a woman, she had heel spurs on her heel since she was 12 years old. And she started taking this. It was pulling out excess calcium. And for the first time, after like 2 years of doing it, she had no bone spurs on her heel. Since she was 12, the bone spurs were gone. Arterial cleanse. They used to do it a lot 30 years ago. I found out they were doing it IV, but I found it can be done orally. It pulls a lot of stuff out, that negative things out of the body. Fabulous product, works really great. Mix it with some water, just chug it down. Need an ounce a day. There's only 4 ounces in this. But then you back off for, 3 or 4 or 5 a week and then go do it again. Quercetin root and potassium, mainly that it stops inflammation. It makes it so that the kidneys, they're able to flush a lot of negative things from doing an MSM detox where you're dumping 70 trillion cells of waste material. It allows a lot of things to go through the kidneys without being processed. It makes it so that there's no kidney pain if you're dumping a lot of waste material out of your kidneys. This is a more of a rebuilding of the kidneys, has a lot of herbal things that support the kidneys. Fabulous thing to take. O2 cleanse. Okay, that's just a magnesium oxide, magnesium hydroxide. We use it to clean up the digestive tract before we start to work on the gallbladder to open it up and dilate. And actually, minerals dilate the bile ducts, and this is the whole kit for doing a liver gallbladder flush. It's simple. It looks complex, but it's really not. It's really just oil. We use rice bran oil, has no taste. We're using clean as a whistle, which is magnesium oxide, magnesium hydroxide, so that it can oxidize the waste material on the intestinal tract. And the liver detox dilates and opens up the bowels, open up the gallbladder so it can release the waste material that's been backed up all the way back to the liver. Parammunes are oils that kill inflammation in the body, works with parasites, fungus, mold, and all sorts of good things. It's a fabulous product, does a heck of a thing. If I get a sore throat in the middle of the night, I'll take 3 dropperfuls of both the two different ones because one has ozone, which you can't mix with the other one because it would bond to the ozone and it wouldn't work. When you take it, you just drink it down. You wake up in the morning, you don't have a sore throat. In my personal case, that's been a staple for my staying healthy. You can look at the code here and get the whole protocol, what it entails. If you want to have a free consult with me, feel free to call me. I take calls from 9 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, 7 days a week. If you want to turn on your phone and ask me questions right now, you can for the next, 10 minutes, and we can go from there.
How did you say are you using the two products for cleaning like a flu or a
Oh, those are they're para A, para B.
yes, para A and para B. Yes. How are
Yeah.
you using them?
I use them typically, I only take them if I need them, make the system not responsive to them, but I've never had it not responsive. Just so you know, I just play it safe. I do their dropper fulls, and I take 3 droppers of each 3 times a day until I get over the problem. But if you catch it early, and this is the thing with any kind of illness, you catch it early, you get rid of it. You let it grow, it can double or triple in every 10 or 15 minutes, 30 minutes. And so if you catch it when you first feel it, like in the middle of the night, you knock it out and you wake up and you don't have it. I mean, I have so many different products, 71 of them. Gout, it's amazing. It works so good, it's scary how good it works. Few minutes, you can, in a lot of cases, gout. If it doesn't, call me up, you get your money back 100%.
The product is called gout,
It's called uric acid, uric acid control.
uric
Works.
acid control. Okay.
Oh, it's amazing. Oh, we didn't really get into my cardiovascular situation.
Yes, I
Uh,
would like to.
so I was taking my products for pulling out calcium and everything else. And I kept it at bay for like 23 years, whatever, 1978 to this year or last year. Last part of last year, I had this done. They call it a cabbage. I didn't get a heart attack, but I did a test and it showed that my right ventricle was 95% clogged. Only a little part of it, maybe quarter of an inch, but it was calcified. And they said, normally we can live with the other ones the way they are, but that one, 95% clogged. So I did this as a precursor because I knew I could get rid of the plaque. But if I get rid of two plaque and I have a new product coming out, probably in the next 2 months, that's going to be tremendous for getting rid of. Well, the cardio product is amazing and it's kept me at bay for 23 years to a point that I went in, wasn't even having any problem. I was playing racquetball, pickleball. I'm a gorilla. I have no knees, back, joint problems because of the MSM.
So the products that worked for you in your case were the MSM that you're
Yes,
taking, and then Vascu Clear,
correct. And quercetin rune potassium.
right?
That also helps eyes. There's whole studies.
Yeah,
Those are of something that's supposed to make your vision stay. That's 3 of about 6 products you're supposed to take. And I'm going to make that product. I'm going to make it better. I like
mhm.
making things better.
Okay, so these three products you mentioned,
Yes.
and
And
then
we're
what
going to come
else?
out with a new one probably in
Yeah,
the next 60 days.
okay.
It's going to be much better. And this one was good for me for 23 years.
How often should you do
Liver
a
gallbladder flush.
yes?
I think a bit initially you should do one and then a week later do another. You get so much trash in the toilet out of your body, you can't believe it. And the
I've
second
seen it.
one is more than the first one because you're going farther back into the liver.
I've seen it.
Oh, you've seen it. So
Yes.
you've done my flush
I've done yes, I've done two flashes.
with my blood. Oh, good. I'm glad you're doing that.
Yeah.
But
So
but
and
you
then how often after that?
well, I mean, I'm going to say 6 months to a year. You can do more if you feel sluggish. And
Mhm.
remember, when you open that up, you're going to build up your hormone base because you're going to make more hormones to function better. Have you ever dealt with thyroid?
Yes,
No.
no, not
Okay.
that much.
When you drop below 98.4, you start to deactivate enzymes. When you
Mhm.
drop below 90, 97.8, you deactivate a lot of enzymes. When you're 96.8, you're barely functioning
Mhm.
because enzymes are heat sensitive. So you have
Mhm.
to digest your food. You have to make chemicals in your brain and body properly, and you have to break apart waste material to eliminate properly. You're not doing any of those if you have low body temperature.
And how do you increase the body temperature?
You reduce both physical and mental stress because it's sucking up the hormones to handle the stress. The body's sucking up the hormones, and because we have so many stress factors in life, life is a stress, you know?
Mhm.
You can
Mhm.
let it overwhelm you, or you can just say, yeah, it's life, and just move on. But either way, you're sucking up hormones to handle the stress.
So you did you say you addressed the mineral,
Yes, what I do is I do a liver gallbladder flush, which
right?
opens up all that stuff, dumps all this waste material, takes a whole burden off the body. I have something to help the thyroid itself put itself back together. And next thing you know, temperature goes up because the stress is the main thing that causes temperature to drop. Well, I just address the mechanics of the body,
Yeah, it's interesting
philosophy.
you're explaining things. Yeah. Is acid reflux coming from gallbladder bile stagnation and liver stagnation? Is that
It's a combination. First thing is the whole tube is has trouble.
yeah.
It's not just one location. And I can give you, you call me on a personal basis. I'll send you 12 capsules of what we're going to be producing, and it'll blow your mind how well it works. It is
Okay.
amazing.
Where's the QR code to schedule a free consultation with you? Which QR code?
We're going to send an email to anybody that's been on.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that sounds
Right?
good. I had a question about the MSM. Is there a case or are there cases where you cannot take MSM because it's a sulfur-based product?
Methylsulfonomethane.
Yeah.
It's 34% sulfur. Sulfur, natural sulfur is the third most used chemical. If it was allergic to it, you'd be dead.
Yeah, I know it's a lot coming up and I think our body produces it, right? Isn't it?
Our
Right?
body has, yeah, you have to have sulfur to
Yeah.
make almost every chemical in the body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Methionine, cysteine, triazine, glutathione,
Yeah.
lipoic acid, all sulfur compounds.
So you haven't seen people that you would
Oh,
say to them, don't use it.
oh yeah, they can get tired, fatigue, and get a headache. But that's I actually encourage the headache. I say you got a headache, take more because
Mm,
it's not the MSM that's causing the headache. It's opening up the potassium sodium pump, hydrating you when it's been dehydrated, allowing MSM, which helps bond to or debond mercury, lead, all these other chemicals, and it
right.
sucks it out of the cell.
Mhm.
And at that point, you got to sell all the receptor sites are actually working to make your cells better.
Right. And I like that many of your products have potassium in them. So that's a good
Well, the thing is, quercetin, rutin, and potassium,
yeah.
I invented that product to allow waste material to come through the kidneys without being processed. Now, I can't say it does all of it, but I can say that when I was doing high doses of MSM, and people would get lower back, I'd tell them to stop for a day or two and then come back to it. I don't have to do that anymore because it doesn't impede the kidneys to where they hurt.
Up to what dose are you going with the MSM?
Oh, I've done 120 grams.
Okay. So gradually go up.
Oh, I've done personally, I've done
Mhm.
180 grams IV. twice. That was
Oh,
when I first started 30 years ago to see what its range was and what wouldn't hurt anybody.
But taking
I'm a
it,
guinea pig.
right. But taking it like a powder, right?
Yep. Powder's best. It's bitter. You just put when you get up to higher dose, you put a couple of tablespoons in about 3 ounces or 2 ounces, and you let it dissolve and hold your breath, drink it down, have a clean glass next to you, drink it down, and then you barely taste it.
So start with like how much and
Well, I have a whole protocol I'll show you.
right. Okay, okay. This was good. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Well, hopefully you'll call and we'll talk.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, thank you.